Today we did talk to the Commissioner General, na the National Revenue Authority, we na Geneva Bangura, we go talk about them, we NRA they do for improve the revenue system na the country. For Sekadata, I want to welcome na the program. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning, Fambodem. I'm glad for there this morning.
Okay, well, the National Revenue Authority, NRA, get the responsibility for assess and collect domestic, custom, and other revenue them. And at the start of the year, they be done set 14.595 trillion old loans, and that's now 14.595 billion old loans as the target for 2024. 7 weeks to the end of the fourth quarter, we're at the final quarter for 2024. How far the NRA don't go for reach their target, and within some of the laws and reforms them, na NRA make we get at the studio this morning. Once again, good morning.
Good morning.
With that background where I don't give we take we through the mandate and the performance of the NRA in tax collection for this year so far, as I don't begin give the targets and how far we did.
Okay. I want to tell you thank you, and Famwood, and thank you for willing to listen to me this morning. And now the second time this way I don't can join una for talk to Famwood about the work way at the lead NRA as the Commissioner General since I become Commissioner General in December of last year. So I think in about 3 weeks or so, I go celebrate me 1 year as Commissioner General. So I'm glad for there this morning for tell Fambodem, waiting we only do the last 11 months for support the government. And as we all know, NRA for the 11 months, now we the government depend on for bringing revenue, because as we all know, the IMF program will expire last year. Renew, which I could talk about later. We not renew until recently, October 31st, where the board meet. So we target, as you mentioned, IMF revised target, we then set for we, Ministry of Finance set for we now 14.595 billion new loans. And we have been come talk to now earlier this year or mid-year. I come with glad news. Because we surpassed the target for the first half of the year. We surpassed them about 5%. And, then we go into the third quarter. As we all know, usually the third quarter is very challenging because now the rain sit on heavy. July, August, and September, the rain sit on very heavily. As much as we know, we miss the target. We missed the target by about 8% for the third quarter. But by and large, when you look at quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3, all put together, we surpassed the target by 1%. And if you look at what we don't collect so far in quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3, we're at 10.73 billion. We don't collect more in the first 3 quarters in 2024, past what we collect in 2023 as a target. So we're very optimistic, so far so good through quarter 1, 2, and 3, that we don't come about 74%, close to we target. And we there, as you mentioned, we're there about 7 weeks away from the end of the quarter, and we're very optimistic because we don't put strategies and we don't do other things then for make sure say we not only meet the target but surpass them, which I will talk about that later. So I'm very, very optimistic, and I'm glad for there this morning for going to the details.
How much percent we don't collect as in the left 3 weeks of for the target for 2024?
I will tell you for sure that we don't collect close to, as of last week where we meet now we revenue meeting, we don't collect about 73%. No, actually not 73. I think about 83% of the revenue as of last week, and then we get, of course, 7 weeks remaining.
So it's the couple of ways say NRA don't collect and all. So it's not some of the strategy they have been put in place for to say on a reach the kind on a target as soon as they close for reaching out the targets on have been set. Okay.
So for 2023 and 2024, if I'm a member, we get the policies then with the Ministry of Finance put in place in the form of the Finance Act. So some of the policies, some of the strategies we don't put in place, we just make sure, say, we meet the target not only meet the target, but to surpass the target as follows. We've been get a policy for implement circulation fee, where we collaborate with SLRSA for just make sure say all the vehicles them where they register, and then all of the income tax where they collect from the registration of the vehicles and the kekes them, we automate that. So when we automate that, that also help boost we revenue. We also get the tax stamp when a policy where the Ministry of Finance ensure, give we as a measure for make we implement. Now we know say all the drinks them, the beverages, the alcoholic beverages them, then get tax stamp. And then also the water, then get stamp, but not for tax, but for just keep track of we GST. We also know say we get a policy for mark the fuel them. All the concession fuel, the commercial fuel and the retail fuel, we mark them. We don't begin for mark them. Then they don't help in that area. We also get a policy for just make sure say we reintroduce or reinstall import duty on gas, cement, cooking gas, and all of that. We'll be able for reconfigure we system them for make sure say we collect on that, so that they boost we revenue mobilization. We also been get for do the excise and our customs. So all of these things that we don't do, policy measures them where we don't implement, don't help boost we revenue so far.
So introducing back then GST app, more especially get for do with staple food, gas and all that thing then. You think say now one have some of the strategy then and they make when I able for boost of them kind couple ya una the boost to able for get that?
Yes, that's and amongst other things what they get for do with compliance. Because you go do all of this, we go implement, we go fix or reconfigure all of the systems them. But if we don't monitor and comply and then educate, it not go help. So all of that put together plus more, now you make we move the way we move.
We can look at the Finance Act in detail. Other people get then take on the Finance Act. Though you say the Ministry of Finance they develop and for in consultation with the IMF. But when we look at now, you say una dey 83% for reach una target. Only hope say una dey reach una target, but una dey surpass una target. What's that optimism? What will give you the confidence say when they pass this target?
So what we can do normally at the NRA, once we don't pass the half year and especially with the end the third quarter, we can put measures in place. And one of the measures that we don't put in place, we don't develop and we don't implement, we call and strip. We're in a short-term revenue revenue compliance project. And basically what they do, we they look at all of the areas them, because we can get people them taxpayers them where normally they file, but they know they pay all thing one thing, so they can get in areas them. So they go back, look at the areas, go back and really improve on enforcement. With the revenue mobilization, we get processes them as to how we they implement or we they administer. So when you they file, where the taxpayer don't file, we give them time, you're supposed to pay immediately. But if you don't pay immediately, we get measures on what they put in place. First, they send you letter for when you say you don't follow and you be supposed to file, pay this time, but you don't pay. Not only the interest and the penalty they accrue, but they keep in touch with you via letter. Where we don't coax you, we don't do everything where the law require, and then you don't pay, we they either garnish your account or will they shut down your business until you pay. So all of that measures we don't put in place for just make sure say we push, we push, and then we apply the law. So we don't put the strip in place. We also they look at the different audits them where we don't do of the mining companies them. Currently we are in negotiation with an audit where we do for Marapa mines and a large amount. So they go back and forth for just make sure say we collect that money. And then we get other things then where they educate, taxpayer education. I actually get an appointment and the letters then for don't go out yesterday for meet with large taxpayers then, we medium taxpayers then, and then the tax consultants then for just make sure say then prepare the taxpayers then for the end of the year. So they put in different measures then, not only for punish, because punishment or applying the law are the last result. But we don't put in other measures then for just make sure say we able cooks with taxpayers then, and when the cooks don't work, then we apply the law and for punitive.
If I get you well, is it a situation that people get for pay NRA, like when I don't calculate that, they already say this person get for pay we. If you pay we add on to this, we reach your target. Now that the case?
Well, it's a combination. We still every month people they pay tax, they pay PAYE, they pay GST. So we get down the way they can, in the future. We get, for example, we get the end of the month, November, what did they file in December, and what have you. So we get down there, but we also get the arrears that we'll get for go back to just make sure we meet with target and surpass the target.
You talk about Marampa Mine, so now be issue out a notice for them go pay the $5.7 million, and now don't go back and forth. And Marampa Mines back they remind NRA but the agreements we then get with Una. Things they then kind see a back and forth can go undermine investor them for can invest in the country.
Okay, I want for correct. I not mention anything about Marampa Mines and 5.5. I say we don't do audit. We don't audit the mining companies them. And Marampa Mines now one of the companies. Then we get Marampa Mines, we get Leone Rock, Kinho, and then we get the Sierra Rutals and others. So we audit them. And audit means we go back. Normally, the mining companies or any taxpayer and a self-assessment. Where the month's done, they tell we say now this you for pay. And then where the year don't go around, we go back and audit you for just make sure say waiting you tell we say you for pay, now you pay. So waiting we they do with the mining companies them, now audit we audit them, and we don't audit all of them, and we just they make sure and not to go back and forth. When you audit, you go tell them say now this now the finding. And then they go come back and say, no, we don't agree with them. And until we meet in the middle. So now that's what they do right now with the mining companies and we don't audit.
So how now they audit them? The mining company have for say, for example, now this owner make, now this owner for pay as NRA to government as tax.
So just like what I say, waiting the declaration them with the mining companies or any other person they do, now self-declaration. So like we can ship then minerals them. Then they tell us that this we don't ship and at this it costs. And then they go pay we royalties and other things. And even with the PAYE, then go tell we say they pay you at the end of the month X amount for the number of staff then we will get. Or withholding taxes, now this will they pay you. We just they take them at face value now. At the end of the year, as I say, we go back, we ask for record for say, okay, now so you will say you get X number of employees them, give me the details of them employees them, how long they don't work for you, how much you they pay them, and all of that. Withholding tax, you say now these are the contractors them where you say you don't pay the withholding tax. We want the information, how much you pay them, and so on and so forth. So when they look at, we'll go for go audit, when they look at the records, which will they compare to waiting them pay we, and then we go determine if they underpay we, or they underpay we, or overpay we. If they underpay we, then we go ask them for pay more, and that's the point where we are right now. So just make sure we understand which side at the middle, and then we agree, so then we pay.
So quick one for me, colleague, if they overpay, it's una can do.
Of course, we go refund. Yeah, if they overpay, we go give the money back.
How often I can do that?
It's never happened.
No.
Or we'll give them credit where they will apply going forward.
Now, let me look at the different tax them we collect. What's on our biggest stream?
The biggest within?
What's on our biggest stream source of fund into taxation?
Well, it depends. Currently, na corporate, the CIT, corporate income tax. Now we can really get the biggest, but really the world all over, and that's make we push for GST, and every time we will meet na GST we talk about other countries them na GST na the biggest revenue stream because again this is not people them money, na me and you we money. So other countries then 40% of the revenue they come from GST and then other revenue sources. But currently for us GST is very low, and for that we push for educate, we push for put strategies in place for just make sure say that revenue stream GST will increase them.
For we listeners and viewers, then we talk about corporate tax. What do they talk about when you talk about corporate tax?
So corporate tax, unlike GST, when me and you will go buy the money where they take from we. Corporation tax, and for them businesses, then where they make, where you don't make money, where you make profits. At the end of the year, you do your business, and then at the end of the year you go declare profit. After you don't, all the income where they come in, they take your expenses, then we relate to the business where they do. So where you don't take the difference between the two, the money where they left, the profits where they make, now we tax as corporation tax.
Our compliance don't tally.
Sorry?
Compliance with the different taxpayers
Well,
and key players then at
yeah,
the sector.
so currently for the different revenue streams, them the compliance not the side we want for make it day. Now for that next year, as I've been talk on Monday, where I've been the AYV NRA hour. This year, next year for 2025, the Ministry of Finance not they impose new taxes. So instead, what we get for due, all the reforms them, all the policies them we don't implement in 2024, we originate from the Finance Act 2023 and then 2024 we don't implement. Now that will push for in compliance. So 2025 we not get new tax except the graduation. And what I mean by graduation, mind you, in 2024, for example, Panges, now 5% we begin with, and then we say it will move up to 10%. So 2025. What we begin for due in 2024 with the implementation on rest, with the donam in 2025, but not on new tax. Now just waiting we bring from 2020.
But now addition.
Now addition. Yeah, so now graduation. So if you look at the Finance Act for 2024, it's a 10%, but 5% in 2024, and then 5%, another additional 5% in 2025. So 2025, what we get for push, and we don't begin put measures in place now for enforcement and for enhanced compliance. Make sure say taxpayers them, all the taxpayers and we're supposed to pay. We get the way we net, they file on time, they pay on time, and then they make sure say what's in the need for bring coming, then bring coming on time. So now really more of compliance in 2024, and then also expand with tax base, because we know once the one them where we know right now, and are the same people them we they go to all the time, the same taxpayers them we they go to. So we don't begin for expand with tax base. We don't embark on the block management registration. You know, so we they go and make sure say we bring in more taxpayers then want them, whether a small, big, or whatever the size, bring them into the net, so we go improve compliance for next year. But next year we'll not get new taxes. I just want to emphasize that.
So compliance, according to you, don't be one challenge for NRA. So waiting the commission go do for say taxpayer them able for go according to waiting them for go, more especially when camper for pay them different tax them.
So now education, you know, taxpayer education is key to waiting we they do. And as I've been said the last time where I come and we don't begin for doing, we they tailor with taxpayer education to the category of the taxpayers then we will get. The large taxpayers then, because they're large, and then get consultants them where they help them, they're not they really give it too much problem, you know, because they know waiting for due, then gets then tax advisors them where they guide them and as to when for file, when for pay, you know, and how for do that, because we know say we don't emphasize say all the filing, because we they automate with systems them for improved compliance. Because in the past, what's in they do not be manual. You go get the paper, you can file, and then for pay it becomes trouble. So compliance improvement, one key thing what we don't do for compliance improvement, now for automate with systems them. So taxpayer education is key. So the large taxpayers them, it's easier because they get people that really help them. But then we get with medium taxpayers them, where they're not get the resources them for get tax advisors them. So we they make sure say we tailor the education to them, to the young category, so they know when for file, they know when for pay, and they know when for reach out to us to we if they get any challenges, so we go help them. And then we get the small taxpayers them, and then the informal sectors them. They are the most challenging because they're not big, they're very small, and then we have to even invest more in them for just make sure say they comply. But taxpayer education is very important. And then the other thing what would they do for just make sure say we improve compliance is to make sure say even we within self NRA we build with capacity them, we staff them very great. We have the best team in the world when it comes to knowledge. They know the tax law, they know what's in a tax administration. But because we they do a lot of reforms, we don't change with systems them, everything is automated, then we need for building capacity. So capacity building is important, and so much so that we 2025 budget, one of the theme where we don't put focus on is capacity building, because if we staff they don't know what for do, if we staff they don't know how for educate the taxpayers, then all the investment then what would they make for just make sure say the taxpayers then able to do what they need for do, it will be futile. So taxpayer education is important, capacity building is important in our effort for improved compliance come 2025.
The program is still listening to now. Good morning, Saloon. We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We still get the Commissioner General for the National Revenue Authority, with Cheneba Bangura. They talk about the work of the NRA in tax for collect tax, and we don't talk about una targets and plans them, and within una plan for reach una target before 2024. We get to look at the plans them for 2025 as we the end 2024 now. But earlier you start for talk about the 2024 Finance Act. With different sectors getting interpretation of this Finance Act, we will get an opposition representative now the studio the last time describe as one way not in favor the ordinary citizens them. You say the Minister of Finance they put this Finance Act together in consultation with the IMF. Whose role NRA they play in developing the Finance Act?
Well, NRA they play a great role in developing the Finance Act, because now we're not the tax administrators them, and then normally the Finance Act they come about for make we work easier, because if we get challenges them doing a certain tax, we come to the Ministry of Finance and say, you know, make we do them this way, make we do them this way, or make we automate this for make them easy. So like for, as I mentioned earlier, for the policies them what we get in the 2024 Finance Act, one get for do with domestic excise rates, which I've been telling you earlier, what we get for configure with systems then for accommodate that. Also in the 2024 Finance Act, we've been get reinstallation of import duty for unrest, because we know so many years ago we've been get import duty on rest, but because of what may happen, I believe during the Ebola time, 2026, 2024, 2016, 2014, 2016, we've been pulling, but we decide for going to come back purposely for help support the feed salon agenda. So we begin with 5% this year, and then we continue for Donda implementation in 2025 for make and bring up to 10%. We implement that. We also get the cooking gas we are talking about. You know, talk about cement. Why cement? We all know, we always see what's in the happen around the country. You know, construction boom, if I call on that, and a lot of cement has been used. You know, a lot of construction they happen. So the Ministry of Finance saw it fit that we put tax on that as well, to just make sure say we increase the revenue. We also the policy for implement tourism levy. We already travel the go to other country, then where you go to hospitality, whether in a hotel or restaurant you go eat, they get tax for tourism levy. So the 2024 Act implemented that, and that also we don't reconfigure with system for just make sure say where now you go to a restaurant or you go to a hotel, you get the 15% GST. Upon tap that there's a 2% tourism levy which we don't implement. We also get the vehicle circulation levy, we I mentioned earlier. We come as a result of the Finance Act we don't implement. We also get education levy, you know, where we add to the withholding tax for make 6.5%. We get so many other things and where we do. Not so only as you said, they say they create burden on taxpayers then, but mind you, we also get measures then, policies then, where Ministry of Finance introduce, where they bring relief to taxpayers then. For example, we get a GST exemption on vegetable oil. So all the oil then, vegetable oil where citizens and people then they buy, what would they buy? It's GST exempt. So not for just put a burden, but also they bring the policies them, where would they implement, they bring relief come to the ordinary citizens and for make their lives easier.
When the Minister of Finance when they read the Finance Act na Parliament before them pass them, you say the couple within the get from the rest, now one within the ring fence and give back to the agricultural sector. This now the fourth quarter with the how much money we don't collect. out of that 5% so far.
Okay. And clearly, just like what you say, the minister been talking, and we do all the 5% we don't come so far from the rest, we put them aside. I not get that figure on top of my head right now, but I know say a significant amount because and it will continue for grow. Once we make them 10% next year, it will continue for grow. But definitely we ring fence some earmarked for the feed salon, because we last year, if I remember correctly, the minister put about 7% aside for feed salons for support feed salon, which that 5% will put aside. If we come from that 7% where he put in the budget, the 5% where we earmark from the import duty, then they will come from that. But I'll not get the exact figure on top of my head right now, but I will provide that at a later time.
Is it that the money just sits in one place, or not utilize them?
No, it's ring fence. So when you ring fence something, that means they touch it. So the 5% is ring fenced, which means it's used for it's used for feed salon. It's used to support feed salon.
So you talk about the different tax the way una don't put part different in them. But we the bank rank in charge the 15% on commission on turnover, and save also 15% on interest. Things that in a double taxation for the people.
So I just want to make sure I understand your question correctly. You talk about financial institution.
Yes, the bank.
The bank them where you get
15% when they collect on the commission on turnover, and save the 15% on interest.
Right. So the 15% on interest, you where they put the money at the bank, right? You make interest. You get you make interest on the money where you get on the bank. Again, now the law says any money where they get, as far as GST is concerned, they add 15% on it. And I don't know what's in you mean. The turnover, now the bank get the turnover, not so you get the turnover. So the 15% where they put upon the money, just like what I've been saying earlier, corporate income tax. Where you make money, where the bank make money, where they add 15% per annum. You the client, you the customer, where they use the bank in services for make the bank keep you money. That interest where they pay. Now 15%. So now two different people then will they put 15% per. Will they put them on the bank, on the money where they make, if I understand you correctly, and then the interest where you they make as a customer, will they charge you different? So like two different people then will they charge. Will they charge the bank 15%, where you not get really anything for due with the customer, and then the customer will they charge them 15%. So I don't know if what's the burden they can, because at two different institutions, we get the client or the customer will they charge, and then the bank. So there are two different institutions, two different transactions.
We don't talk about the 2024 Finance Act. We come to an end. We soon get another Finance Act. But from your statements, now Minister of Finance, they put them together in consultation with the IMF. Whenever you mentioned IMF in the economic system, people they get the notion or belief, see, the IMF always concerned about government for get a more couple for pay the debt them with them own them, and not for the citizens them. Where people think say if the Minister of Finance they always consult the IMF on taxation, that's now always a loss on the side of the people. Tax will continue for increase because IMF focus now for make government get a more couple for them.
Well, me no see them that way. We relationship with the IMF now partnership, because just like the reforms, the policies them who I don't name earlier, and not get for do anything for do with IMF. Like for example, the education levy, the tourism levy, all of that now homegrown, if I for call them that, now the Ministry of Finance, and we they sit down and come up with all of these measures, because we they see what's in the happen around the world, for just help improve we revenue. Like for example, where one of the policies that we'll get in the 2024 Finance Act, now digital taxation. Which make we bring in and they come, because we know now that everybody they use digital platform for do them work, for do them transaction them. They use your phone for buy, they use Amazon for buy. So then the IMF, not to IMF, then you own what's in they call and but we are partners. But the only thing we're going for bring you attention to, I know say in the Finance Act 2023, we removed the fuel subsidy, where we don't get for a very long time, and I think we removed that in August or September of last year. And the reason we work with IMF for get that done, because we realize say the poor people then we're supposed for benefit from that, from the fuel subsidy. Then nobody benefit. Like Musa, if you get 2 motorcar, 3 motorcar, and then motorcar then gas guzzle them, if I for call on that, you they fuel them, you fill them up, and you they get the subsidy. Where if me I not get motorcar, na keke the right, that fuel subsidy no they help me, because the keke what they call the fee for the keke no they go down. So now the rich people them, now they want them we get motorcar, now the affluent people them be the benefit from that fuel subsidy. So what thing we do, we work with IMF for removal, and that money the way the government will they give in subsidy, we redirect them into safety net. So people them, the poor people them will benefit from that.
And that now IMF conditionality.
That IMF conditionality where we work together on, and we say a right. Because as I say, the fuel subsidy not be the benefit all man. It be the benefit the few we get the privilege for get boku motoka, we go able fuel the motoka them, and then they get the subsidy.
And my argument to that now always, whenever fuel go up, transportation the cost, and that gets pushback effect on the last customer. If somebody they take in product from upline for Camut and Freetown, if fuel go up, transport they go up, and ISF go sell there. So it means that it gets impact on the ordinary person.
Right. So for me, I just want to take the reverse of that. And again, not to the government who for blame for that, now the business people then. Because if fuel go up and then that translates into an increase in transportation, where also they translate into increase in food, what's it make fuel, what's it make transportation or they go down with the fuel they can do? And you go agree with me that the last couple of times, the fuel they go down. But once the fuel don't go up, once the fuel can down, they translate, the reverse not they happen. We say transportation for down relatively, and then everything else for the ripple effects not they be felt. So then not a government who for blame, now the business people then. Because if you increase transport with fuel go up, you for also decrease them with fuel go down.
Talking about the IMF, the Ministry of Finance will attend the IMF annual meeting inside October this year. So waiting we come inside this meeting, more especially we get to do with the people back home in terms of tax revenue and other thing.
Well, what's happened? We all know. Say last year, the IMF program will be end towards the end of the year, and then where it ends, because it good for get a relation, a good for make we get a relationship, a good partnership with the IMF. So the Ministry of Finance, the minister apply for a new program, the new extended credit facility program, which of course for make you get a program, then they certain things then they where you get for do. We now the revenue authority, we own parts that for make sure say revenue come out. So for the first half of the year, we make sure say we push and we tie we belt for make sure say the requirement what we need for do for tax administration for make sure say the revenue come out, which we surpass happen, and then everybody else get for do their own part. So we able get the program. So what will go for the annual meetings, the IMF board meet October 31st. And we are very pleased, that the program, the new program will get with IMF, don't approve them, and then they come with resources. The program, a 38-month program, and it come with about, if I'm not mistaken, $253 million, which they disperse, over time. That is good because it help with treasury, it help with reserve and what have you. But what thing we do as NRA, we just make sure say revenue mobilization, which now one of the components them for make this thing happen, and we're very proud. So much so that the first half of the year we surpass we target.
This program we talk say IMF don't agree for and una go implement that 38-month program. How we get for turn like in the implementation process and other than get for benefit?
Well, the entire country they benefit. We all they benefit because it's good for the country. It's good for relationship with international partners, not only with the IMF, the World Bank, and all the other partners that more they work with, relationship, and even good for investment as well because they give assurance, say we are doing okay. So they benefit all man, not so just Ministry of Finance or NRA, but they benefit the entire country.
So the NRA they attend at least twice a year the World Bank / IMF meetings in the US, whether the spring or annual meeting. Within now some of the discussions them and how that they impact taxations and revenue mobilization back home.
Okay. So we can go with the minister and the governor. We get the main meetings them we attend, but we serve as NRA with delegation we on side meetings them because we get other partners them, be it the ATAF and other people them, or even within the World Bank and the IMF, we own people them, we own colleagues them, where we work with, where they help support whether in a capacity building, whether in a collaboration on other things them, for just help improve with revenue mobilization. So then go then there we can go, like especially this we'll go in October, after we done with the minister in meetings them, we meet with we own colleagues them, for just strategize not only for the end of the year but the coming year, for see how we will continue for work with them, for making support in different missions them, for just make sure say we not only meet with target, because that is not the end all, but we get the reforms them what would they do, and we want to make those reforms sustainable. Like for example, with the reforms them what we don't implement, we get a lot of data. So we work for make sure say we develop and make sustainable a data warehouse, because all the data that we pull, all they generate from those reforms, that they come to this data warehouse, and we get a team where they analyze. Where I mentioned compliance earlier, how we able know if the person don't file and pay. Now because of the data, where would they get, and we analyze them, and they make we get for know that don't file and not pay it.
Of course, Madam Cheneba, you don't attend the PAC now Parliament. We're at the Public Accounts Committee, chaired by Honorable Ibrahim Tawakonte, and the NRA get several issues them with the PAC they look at. First of all, how you can describe the PAC and the issues them within the race with regards to the NRA?
Thank you very much for that question. As we all know, the PAC now an accountability committee, which again, just like any other accountability committee, whether in our audit service salon or even our own internal audit department, now for improve the process, improve internal control, help we do things better, for improve the way we do things. So the PAC now a very important body as far as I am concerned, because if they look at the audits recommendations them way audit salon they make, and they help we implement those audits. Currently we are engaged with PAC for the 2021 and then 2022 audit, which then 2 years, and especially in 2021, it was a very challenging year, because that's the year not only will we go through COVID-19, but at that time the way we transition from the manual into the automated. So there was a lot going on, and then also that year the way we read, where the bank do redenomination. So there was a lot of activities going on for 2021. So that audits the PAC they look at, and then also audit the 2022. So we don't appear there a few times. I think the process been start in either July or August. Busai we go, and they even call some taxpayers them and come, and I think they were able to provide documentation. Mind you, when the audit report was issued, I think it was issued earlier in 2023, and normally when the audit report audit findings are submitted to us, we can try for make sure we go and rectify and correct it. So if the audit report was issued early 2023, it's likely that a lot of activities may have happened, including outside taxpayers them, something that we don't pay. So where we go on a PAC, we ask for the chairman give we time, the committee give we time for make we go verify, and we don't verify a lot of those payments them where the taxpayers and we don't make between the time where the audit report was issued and the time where we appear na PAC. But the process is ongoing. Even today we appear, we are called to appear.
And there was time when the chairman, PAC chairman, been one for announce name of businesses where no pay taxes, where the name appear na the audit reports under the year within the review. NRA representative then being big say no, not publish the name of the institutions here. We make people think say una na NRA now the cover up for people we know they pay tax.
Yeah. So definitely the one them way feel so misunderstand the process. The law is very clear, and we now the tax law now in the guide we. Just like what been explained earlier. When somebody owe we money, or if they not pay we money, we know they just go and take the name in the newspaper. Process the way with the fella. First we they send letter. For say you've been supposed to pay with this amount, you not pay we now for pay. If you not pay, and then we get other processes them. The name and shaming now one of the last things them where we go on, what would they do for make sure say people then pay with money? Because how about if you name and shame the person and the person don't already pay, and you not go through your records then for make sure say you don't confirm and validate before you go do that name and shame. So the reason, and I've been there part of that meeting as a matter of fact, we tell the chairman say before you call a name and shame, allow we by the law make we go through the processes the way we can normally go. Even with the garnishment, we know they just they grab and garnish taxpayer and their account, because when you garnish, you they put extra burden on the taxpayer, because you they prevent the taxpayer where you don't garnish in your account for make it able do in day-to-day operations, because it need money. So you don't lock in your account, you're not going to pay in staff them, you're not going to pay in suppliers them, you're not going to pay anything because the account is locked. So now for that, normally now the last resort then what would they do? Naming and shaming and garnishment after we don't go through the law of reminding, informing, warning, then we take the action. Not only garnish and name and shame by publishing, but even we can lock the account. I mean, we can lock the taxpayer in business for making no updates. We go stop the taxpayer from traveling. All of these powers we have, but we know that the last thing and the way we do before, we take action. But we can try to make sure say we warn, we send letters them, we guide, we bring them to the office, invite them and walk them through the process, and then we go take the last action. So I just want for clear to farmwood, and not to cover we want for cover. We just want for make sure say we follow the due process as set out in the law before we begin for name and shame. Because a lot of these companies them who they work with, then get international partnership. They have international subsidiaries them. So fine, you go put the name na newspaper, say they not pay their taxes. And then it ends up say, well, you don't go to your records, you find out say they don't pay, then it not gonna be good for them business. So we use the last resort after we don't go through the due process.
So what's in NRA then projection for 2025?
Okay. So 2025, and the minister they ready for the budget this Friday, I believe. I see the notice, and as we know now, the Ministry of Finance it's set to target. But then that target is informed by the things that we do now, the Revenue Authority. And as I've been mentioned earlier, we don't implement a lot of reforms. And now we hope say in 2025, the reforms then will be sustainable. For example, we get the product marking of excisable goods. So far, the impact based on what's in the data they show, we excise revenue don't go up about 135%, and not just for the first couple of months we don't implement them, from January, and then also the fuel marking that we mentioned earlier. Then they said the impact there, and the petroleum excise, we expect for McDonald's go up significantly and become sustainable. The telecoms, the data will implement the NSOFT. Then the sales and revenue for the telecoms them don't go up about 49% since this year. So there's a lot of all the reforms them where we don't implement, and the impact, and then the other things then what would they do for make sustainable. We projection the revenue target, domestic revenue target projection for 2025, they go up about 30%. And the figure is 18.912 billion. We're not 30% more than within with the bringing for 2024.
Increasing by 30%, and you earlier assured Australians then see new tax no get for 2025, but when I get for do graduation, like one na the rest from 5 to 10%.
Yes.
Apart from the rest, which area then they again when they do graduation, when I expect for get this 30% increments from?
Okay, so we know they increase no tax, we know they add anything per the tax. Just like what I say, now the automation and the reforms and way we don't do. We just get to make sure now that they are sustainable, and then we bring in more people, more taxpayers into the tax space for make sure say we meet this target. So not of my new implementation of new taxes, not just the reforms, and we continue now for make sure say the reforms them hold.
Okay, una don't send una text message them to the number 077981981, also on our Facebook page. That time for me we could look at some of the text messages them. The first one where they take now I say, good morning. What is the relationship between NRA and council when it comes to revenue mobilization? What is the difference here when it comes to area of responsibilities?
This one say good to hear from your studio guest. Domestic revenue collection has not been encouraging. As a commission, what are the measures you have put in place to boost the domestic revenue collection in Sierra Leone?
This one say good morning 98.1. They say the NRA have done so well in terms of bringing technology to aid revenue generation in the telecom, track and trace and fair marking. I just want to advise the NRA boss to focus on the enforcement of fair marking, as this will continue to boost revenue next financial year. From Amit na IMAT.
This one say, I sometimes see NRA collected money in a shop and council also will come and collect money from the same shop. What is the difference here when it comes to area of responsibility, NRA or council?
This one say imposing 15% tax on savings is hefty. Does Ms. Bangura not think this is enough to deter people from saving with banks?
This one say, Madam Commissioner General, meeting your target is very vital because it will help the government in their operations. If you are unable to meet your target in 2024, do you have any plan to reduce or maintain the target in 2025?
This one from Mystic Nadwazak. They say good to hear from you, your studio guest. Domestic revenue collection has not been encouraging. As a commission, what are the measures you have put in place to boost domestic revenue collection in Sierra Leone?
This one say, Madam, the current customer. Okay, this one not clear.
Okay, we continue for look at more messages them inside the program. This one say, what have you collected from the 1% levy on education?
This one say, this GST make everything hard in the country.
Okay, we continue for look at more messages there inside the program. Good morning, Saloon. This one from Floyd Clements right now with Facebook page. They say, Madam Commissioner General, can a customer have a breakdown of the GST charges that is being deducted when you are giving receipts for goods and services, similar to how it's itemized in Ghana, for example?
Well, the final me they take now, they say, Madam Commissioner, it is true that the National Reserve is less than $300 million.
This one, they say, from John Cannon, our Facebook page, they say the current custom commissioner. Okay. Oh, that's so personal. This one from Davis Beckham. We know the last one from me. For I say sometimes see NRA collected. Okay, we don't look at that message. They from them message them. You can respond if we get anyone we need you respond. We will read them out.
Okay. All right. I want to tell Fambudem thank you for where they join we this morning and for follow up and revenue domestic revenue mobilization. For be a concern for every citizen, because now the money we na the NRA they bring in, now the government they use for support the activities them from paying salaries on time, making sure say good roads, the schools and all of that. So I'm really glad we found with Njenbu this morning and then get their own input into this discussion. I want to start from the bottom for go up. The question about the National Reserve, then they are not going able to answer because not to my own domain. Then they na the Bank of Sierra Leone. So then they are going left from the GST. The breakdown, like this person, the caller asks, if we go able to get a breakdown of GS, itemized breakdown of items on the GST receipt. Again, I don't know what's in that experience done there, but me no say the GST receipts them when me they get. You know, I know they say all of them, but the one them when me they get in a restaurant or any other place who side me they go buy, they tell me the items them. You know, and then it will show you the total of those items, and then at the bottom you see the calculation for the GST. But if you get any experience who side and give you the GST, you know, give you the breakdown of the items and where you buy, you will be and come now with office, and then maybe the person in machine need for be configured, so they will give you a breakdown of the items then. Again, I want to come back to the 15% on savings now the bank. The message they say 15% GST on savings. I just want to clarify that the GST not to on the savings, not upon the money where they put. Now the bonya where the bank they put upon the money where they put na the bank. So when you go save at the end of the year, at the end of the month, the bank they add interest. The GST 15% a day pan the interest where the bank they put, not upon the age money where they put. So I just want to make that very clear that not upon the savings where you they make. And then I very much clearly agree with everybody. We get the potential. We, the citizens of this country, get the potential for bringing in more domestic revenue. And what's not the responsibility you, the citizen, get? Again, I just want to emphasize the GST. Anytime where you go buy, ask for your GST. If you're not a business person, you sell, ask for your GST. Now, once sure way down there, we go able to increase with domestic revenue collection. Because the GST money, as we they say all the time, not to the business person in money. Now, your money, where you they add pan the cost of what you they buy or what you they get, now need for go to the government. So we all need for join hand. Not so the Commissioner General no more get that responsibility. Not so the Minister of Finance no more get that responsibility. Or not so NRA Workmoney no more get that responsibility. We all get the responsibility as citizens then for make we join and for make sure say we increase domestic revenue mobilization. Because the more we bring in domestic wise, the less we they get from the loans them from other places, and I will all get that responsibility. We at the NRA and me as the Commissioner General, I will continue for take that leadership for make sure say we put the right systems in place, both working with the taxpayers then and then also working internally for just make sure say we not only meet but we surpass we target year in and year out.
The issue of the council collects, NRA collects.
Yes, thank you for that. So again, council, what's in council they do, whether a Freetown City Council on a local council or Ponsky, now two different things them we do. We mandate, we spell out in the Income Tax Act. Now we they collect corporate income tax, we they collect personal income tax, now we they collect GST, now we they collect mines, now we they collect na customs, now we they collect the TSC them, TSC them what would they work with, the MDAs them what would they work with. We know they collect you where they go get you market, the fee where they pay, not where they collect that and they na cancel they collect that money there. You will get local tax for pay because you get host na Freetown or you get host are you there. Not only they collect that money they now cancel. So with distinction, do what in way they do it clear. What in council they do it clear, and the services and what council they provide to you it clear. So what in council they collect, if you get like for example you're not a business person, you get your small markets now. Outside council say for all your markets, you they pay that fee there to council. So we focus on waiting where they bring come in for support the government. So now the difference are between waiting the two institutions that they do.
Plenty thank you for your genuine consideration of the program. And hope say perhaps by the end of the year when I go publish Amos NRA don't get that from the 5% on the rest before the 10% where government don't put come to effect, because now one way and no NRA, no Minister of Finance, no inform the public Amos they don't get that on the 5% GST on the rest, and also 1% on the education levy. We the inside the Finance Act we the round now. Plenty thank you for genuine Commissioner General, National Revenue Authority, General Bangura. Every day inside the studio they talk about the work of the National Revenue Authority for get a couple for government and the reforms that we don't put in place and the target for 2025. We'll hopefully get you in the studio for the key update.
Thank you.